Welcome, boys and girls, to today. And it's been a while. I'm currently in Bert's office because I have nowhere of my own. I've so much to do and I want to build like a workshop thing outside in the garden. That ain't going to be this year. I'm going to get myself concrete mixers, a couple of neighbours who are going to help us, and we're going to custom build one, you know? A massive sort of shed, basically, that I can do some work and stuff in. But until then, my studio is going to have to be Bert's office. Now, I might start squinting at some points because you are on the window looking into the office and the sun does eventually get right in. So I may end up squinting at some point. So apologies if I'm like, hello. Now, I haven't used any of my cameras for a long time. Very long time. And if anyone's curious, what happened to these, and I had about 5 or 6 of these, they all failed around the plug-in, just in around there. I don't know whether you can see that, if my shake's too bad for you, but where you plug the power in, it pushes it through. Now, I might be able to get some power going through that one. I haven't tested that yet, although, no, I don't have the right line for that. So I might be able to get some power going back into these and use them again at a later stage. Again, like I said, I haven't tested it. I've bought a house. I've had a sod ton of stuff to go. I've got the Terracan going again, although it does need an MOT. If you follow me on Twitter and Facebook, you probably saw me taking photos of it on jack stands and all that kind of crap. A little bit of welding needs to be done to the Jag, just a tiny patch. I don't have the time. A neighbour's got a MIG, but I'm just going to chuck it into a local garage when it goes for the MOT and say, look, cut a little bit out, put a new piece of metal in, everyone's a winner. Outside of that, Bert's running about in a 600 quid Focus that the MOT's not till January. And I thought, well, I want to see where I stand with it. Is it worth putting any money into it, that kind of thing? Because the engine's all right. A few things could do with improving. I mean, every so often the idle goes really low when you're coming to a stop. It doesn't cut out, but it's just one of those things, you can fix it, but is it worth the money? So I got under there with a hammer, and there's a hole under it. there's a big rust hole under it, so I'm like, we're going to sling that. Anybody want 300 quid Focus? But yeah, it's 300 quid to everyone, but for you guys, 1,000. No. But yeah, I don't know how much battery's left in my audio equipment. I'm looking at that because it's currently on charge. I don't really want to take it off charge because it's only got like 8% battery. But I have purchased myself a new camera. Now you're probably thinking, oh, upside down. Apologies. This is my channel, isn't it? I've purchased myself a new camera. There you go, look at that. Now you're probably thinking, oh, why are you spending all that money on cameras and stuff? This was 40 quid. Literally 40 quid. Right? I was like, oh, bollocks to it. Oh, if you're curious, it's the morning. I'm not going to start drinking this yet. What is the time? Oh, no, got some time left yet. Now, obviously this is September the 5th, 2021, for anybody who's watching this however long in advance. But at the moment, at time of recording, these are currently on Amazon, on Prime, for next day delivery, for 20 quid. 20 quid a bottle. I've got 5 of the bastards. You're not going to be able to buy stuff like this that cheap for very long. So if you want to try some bullet bourbon, and this will, if you like Jack Daniels, this will make you think twice about how good Jack Daniels is supposed to be. This is absolutely God's nectar. I can't stress that enough. It's brilliant. It's smooth, it's vanilla-y, it's got that kind of oaky finish, the casky finish, just godly. I love the stuff. But there you go, I just thought I'd do that. I'm not being sponsored by anybody, my channel is way too tiny, it's just something that I like, I thought you guys might want to try. And for 20 quid a bottle, I mean, seriously, 20 quid? Come on, might as well try it. You're not losing anything, are you? if you go into M&S or Sainsbury's or places like that sell it on the shelf, it's like 30 quid. I mean, it's 28 quid on Amazon normally, so, you know, come on, 20 quid. 20 quid. It's a score. Anyway, the Apex cam. Now, I haven't actually done anything with this. This has been sitting over a week because I wanted to do some uploads on my 19 days holiday that I've just been on. I've got 3 left. 3 days left. That's how busy I've been in this bloody house. I've had no time. Plus, I've been helping a couple of neighbours with their cars, taking bumpers off, putting parking sensors in, all that kind of shite. There's a trio of us. I mean, I get on with all my neighbours, which is fan-bloody-tastic. But there's a specific trio, just across from me and then 2 doors down. We all kind of stand round with the beers working on cars. Or at the moment, I can see him down there, he's restoring a neighbour's caravan. And I've been helping, and I'll most likely be going to do that later on after I've recorded this. But yeah, he's currently working on the caravan. He's been borrowing my bottle jacks and my axle stands and everything. He's a neighbour that's a couple across. But he's an ex-farmer, right? And a retired truck driver. And he used to work with one of my bosses when my boss was like 20 years old. So that's how we kind of started chatting to one another. And he was down in, he comes from Lancashire originally. I don't know why I'm going into this, but bollocks, it's interesting to me. Apologies. And he lived down in Pitsea and Basildon and then Chelmsford and Danbury and places like that years ago, obviously when I was younger. And actually, what was it? It had been, when I was a baby, really, when I was a little baby. And he used to work for a guy that contracted my future boss when he was not long out of school. It's so screwed up. And yeah, he saw him starting up. He saw him buy brand new 2 of the vehicles I used to drive, and they were old when I was driving them. And so we've been sharing the old stories like that, but we're kind of similar on the history on what we've done throughout our lives. Although he does actually have an electronic engineer degree. He did one of those at some point as well. So I'm going to get him round here to put in a new ring main in my house. Because he's qualified. He's qualified. So that's going to be on the cheap. All I have to do is supply all the parts. And I will get another Sparky in who's got all the various documents to sign it off, but he knows exactly what he's doing because he's done about 4 houses down here and they've all been signed off, no problem. So hey. But anyway, back to the camera. Let's take this camera out because I haven't actually looked at this at all yet. I don't even know if it's in pieces. This isn't an unboxing video in the sense of, oh, look at the case, it is so nice, it rubs against, those kind of fucking unboxing videos. But anyway, so it's not too bad. Now, this is always a pain in the arse because these do not work the way I assume they work. They never ever fucking do they? Right, so GoPros are quite easy because you just kind of lift the front up, but I don't think this lifts up like that. Oh, it does. Like I said, I haven't, as you can see, I haven't taken it out yet. It seems to be exceptionally similar. Obviously, one's upside down for this comparison, but it does seem to be exceptionally similar. So the case is cheap, but these did last, Christ, 6, 17, 18, 19, about 4 years. And this is the oldest one, and I never really looked after them. I mean, the scratches on it, I just used to do that when I finished with them. So this one I should really look after a little bit more, but again, for 40 quid, do you really care? I mean, 40 quid, if this lasts 4 years, it's a tenner a year. The GoPro that's currently recording me was, 300 and something quid when I bought it? And I've used it a handful of times. The problem I have with GoPros is they do 5 to 8 minute file sizes and move on. They also seem to record audio slightly different speed to my dash cam. So lining everything up, in the beginning it can be absolutely spot on. But after about 10, 15 minutes like we're at the moment, there's an echo. And because it will have split the file, there's about half a second or two between the files. It's like just nothing, and it jumps. So it's really aggravating. The benefit with these is they carry on for half hour before they split, and there was no like half a second delay, no audio, that kind of stuff that GoPro seems to have. I don't know why. Don't know whether it's a setting I've got. So I tend not to use the GoPro very often, and it's one of the reasons I bought this, because I wanted to see what this would do. I know technologically I'm not very advanced, as you know. I know sod all about it. I could read off of the box, but it's just gibberish. 4K 30 frames per second. Stabilization is 4K at 30 frames per second as well, so I can go to 4K and keep it stable in my shaky hand, you know. It can do 1080p at 60 frames with stabilization. Stabilization 720 at 120 frames a second. Unless I'm going to do some slightly slow-mo stuff, I can't see the point in that. It's compatible with Android and Apple. Oh yeah, it can take an SD card, micro SD card, up to 64 gig. Battery at 4K 30 frames a second will last roughly 2 hours. I've seen online people are getting like an hour and 45 minutes. It's long enough. Me, I keep them plugged in, so I don't really give a rat's ass, you know what I mean? And it's waterproof up to 40 metres. So it's waterproof deep enough down for you to drown. But yeah, 131 foot according to the front of it. Yeah, 170 degree wide angle lens. So that's I don't know shit about this kind of stuff. I really don't. But anyway, get a nice little holdy thingy look. Oh yeah, this has got a remote. I can make it record and stop recording via a remote, so I can set it up like on a stand. This is something that I had a real pain in the arse with, and I need to get a camera with like a remote zoom function. This doesn't have that, I don't think. It might do, I don't know. Because there's a few things I've wanted to do where the camera's got to zoom in and it's got to zoom right in. And I've got one camera specifically that really does. If you saw the Aston Martin video I uploaded on this channel, at the end I go zooming miles right into the turbines, the wind turbine. And it's shaky because I'm having to touch the body of the camera whilst doing it, and there's no, I can't stabilise it like that. So and it really pisses me off. I want to get something that is remote so that I can set up a camera like that, get it right, see what it looks like, bring it back, then record an actual perfect smooth zoom. Because there's a few ideas I have, mainly for wearing bearings, which is currently on hiatus for the foreseeable future. Not because I'm lazy, but because there is a metric fuck ton to do in this house, with this house, and everything else that's going on. Plus I've got a full-time job now, although it's 5 on 3 off. And this driver shortage is brilliant. I got the job because it was 5 on 3 off. You know, I wanted my 3 days. Work on the house, do something for this channel. Finally. And obviously wearing bearings, maybe work with the neighbours on some stuff they're doing. All that kind of crap. Yeah, I wanted the 3 days off. And of course when I take 2 weeks off, which for the average Joe is 14 days, maybe 16 if you balance your weekends, I get 19 days. So it's like, lovely. I went on holiday and I was just like, I've got all the time in the world. Now I'm 3 days away from going back and I'm like, oh shit, I've got loads of stuff I still haven't done. And no, this stuff has not been involved. I don't know how wide I've set the angle. I can't remember the setup, so sorry if you saw it and I moved it. It doesn't matter. But yeah, that's Wearing Berries is on hiatus for a while. I do have plans with it. It turns out that twice a year, if I go to the end of the road, turn right, and about 10-minute walk, I think it's twice a year. I know it's once at the moment because of COVID, but I think it is twice a year from what the neighbours were saying. There's vintage and steam rally thing goes on. It's quite a well thought of thing, but of course with COVID it's not been going on. They did it this weekend, it's on today, but again, I can't be arsed if I'm honest. So I'm thinking obviously next year I'll do some recording of that, because I want to get, one thing I want to do with that channel is more kind of interviews. You know, when somebody's owned a vehicle, like there's an old lady, old woman, down my road, there's a road that turns right. She lives down there in one of the bungalows. She bought in 1977-78 an Escort 16L with a vinyl roof, brand spanking new. Okay? She still drives it today. It's in museum condition and it's weekly driven. It's not daily driven, I mean she's retired now, but she's still weekly driven, goes up and down this road. Now, if I can grab kind of an interview with her and chat about the car, you know, everything, from what we understand, she's never had anything done to it. She just keeps it perfect. In garage, you know, doesn't use it when it's wet, all that kind of stuff. So I'm interested in histories of cars, of people's ownership of cars, and that's something that I'd like to do. Again, with Wearing Bearings. But anyway, I digress a little bit because I'm supposed to be changing to this camera to see how good it is. Again, I'm only, 17 and a half minutes into this. Yeah, I blather on, don't I? But it's been a while. It's been a while. So, you know, if I go over an hour this time, I mean, it's making up for the months I haven't been around. But yeah, I do want to... I don't know what I did with my memory card. Man down! Man down! Oh, there it is. I do want to see what this is like. So I will probably be pausing this now, buggering about with this camera because I don't have a bloody clue about anything to do with it. And then I shall see you again in, well, for you a couple of seconds. Well, a second. And I'll be using this camera and the GoPro will be down here. Because I want to see how good this is. Of course, you've been watching me on a GoPro the entire time. And so we're going to switch to the Apex. M90 Pro thingy, whatever. Just to see how good it is. So I shall see you in a second. Well, I'm back and we are on the other camera now because this is my GoPro. There we go. Yeah, and the GoPro has 13% battery now. I've just got to leave these plugged in now, otherwise that's going to go all funky and wrong. Now, as you can tell, I haven't been through any of this, although I have multiple of these kind of things. It turns out that, because it's, well, obviously it's the same box dimension, it's the same size as this, you can hear the thing that broke off rattling about. Seeing as it's the same size as this, obviously it fits into the cradles I got for these, so that could actually be a very good purchase. Now, to keep things fair, I have not got this on 4K 30 frames a second, I've got it on 1080 30 frames a second, which is exactly what the GoPro is set to. So, hello. Something's going wrong. Oh, hello, what's going off here? My GoPro's gone funny. There we go. So yeah, this is exactly the same recording kind of thing that the GoPro has. I've got the stabilisation on, even though it's sitting on a window, just to see if it makes any difference to the kind of picture quality, because it's something I need to know. Because if I'm going to stick this to a window in a car, and the car's going to be a bit bouncy, you can see why I'd use a stabilisation. I think I might have angled that a little higher than the GoPro was. So I think I'm gonna. Sod it, I'll leave it. I'm sure you're seeing me perfectly fine. Actually. But yeah, anyway. I'm just making sure everything's recorded. I've got that horrible sensation because I haven't done this for so long. I'm trying to make sure everything's recording. You know, it's like you do something and you get used to doing it and you know, right, I've done that, that's set, that's organised, everything's working correctly, lovely. And then you go away and you come back to doing it and you're like, did I do that? Was that correct? Have I done that right? There is one thing. Now this might take a moment, so apologies. Apologies. Right, I have to say hello to somebody. Now I was asked to do this, Christ, must have been a year ago. And I completely forgot, because I started working by the agency, KPI agency, for FedEx in Stafford. And there's a guy who works there called Jason. And it turns out that his nephew, Ashley Bunn, hello, watches me. And he was Jason watches me as well, and he recognised me and said, could I do a shout out in another upload? And it slipped my mind. And I remembered it like a few days ago, and I was like, oh yeah. And there's something else that slipped my mind as well, and I'm a naughty boy for it. I was supposed to be, again, the amount of stuff I've got going on in this house is insane. But I was supposed to be going down to KPI in Stoke. The reason being is I wanted to do a little interview with them because at the moment they are taking on people who don't have HGV licenses, and they are putting them through their HGV licenses for one of their clients. Who that is, I don't know. I've got a rough idea, but I'm not going to say it out loud, obviously. And it's a case of you're contracted to them for 18 months. Now, they did send me an email with all of this in, and I was supposed to have done an upload about it, and I completely forgot, because I'm really, really, really clever. So, apologies whilst I'm trying to find all of this, because, oh crap, it's gone completely wrong. Everything has gone wrong. I had all these great ideas, all of these wonderful thoughts, and I was like, yeah, I'll get this done, yeah, I'll get that done, woo, yeah. And I've got absolutely none of it done because I'm a tit. Right, okay. First of all, the only office KPI are doing the recruiting to train is the Stoke office. Okay, it's the one in Stoke-on-Trent, just down the road from where I am. That's the only office that are currently taking on people who do not have HGV licenses. Now, if you do have a HGV license and you wanted to get into it, maybe you put yourself through it, maybe you got peed off with your boss because they're not paying the wage increases that people have been getting recently because of the driver shortage. Because that's the other thing. I went 34k a year, 5 on 3 off. Well, now, given the unsociable hours that I do and the couple of nights out that I do each week, I'm on 45.7. That's happened within like 5 months of being there. It's brilliant. I'm loving this driver shortage. It's amazing. Yeah, well, you know, the gross margins are only like 2 or 3%, Bill. That's constructive accounting, I think you'll find, is involved there, because if companies can turn round and, well, increase wages 20 odd percent, 30 odd percent or more, and a lot of companies are doing that at the moment, I think you'll find there's some constructive accounting going on. Because remember, all the stuff you see, you know, plastered in the press and everything like that, that's all the stuff that is legally presented, you know, and there's a difference. It's a little bit like Elon Musk can get away with not paying any tax in a year if he wanted to, by taking all the money that he's making, reinvested it, and showing a loss on his investments, therefore not paying any tax. But it doesn't mean that he hasn't made any money that year. He's just lost money. Does that make sense? It's all... There's a lot of bollocks. You know, there's only a 2% gross margin in this bill. Well, how have you got a whole new fleet of Scanias then? Yeah? If it's that bloody tight, get a whole new fleet of Ivecos. Cheaper. You know, it just irritates me. But anyway, if you have a HGV licence, going back to the KPI stuff, because you know me, I'm all over the fucking place. They have offices in Crewe, in Stoke, in Glasgow, Peterborough, Telford and Wigan. Okay, so if you want to go and work for KPI, and you live within a commutable distance of those areas, yeah, or you want to go to an agency, look at KPI. Because I have to admit, in the 12 years I was agency, KPI didn't let me down at all. You know, of all the agencies I've worked for, you know, I came up here and I was used to a certain way of doing things. I'd sign on to an agency, and 4 or 5 days later, something like that, maybe a week later, get me on the system, all that kind of stuff. Here, I've got an assessment for you, off you go. Well, KPI, I came up here on the 17th of July 2020. And I think that was a Saturday. I know it was a Saturday I came up. I can't remember if it was 17th. Well, I know it was a Saturday I came up. I settled in on the Sunday, because I was living with some in-laws. And on the Monday, about 1400, 2 p.m, I had, you know, go and sign on to KPI. I knew no agencies, I knew nothing. Anyway, I got off to KPI and did all the paperwork, everything like that. And then it was something like 7 a.m. Was it some early morning start? Well, I say early morning, I mean I'm doing 3 a.m.s at the moment, so whatever. But it was a morning start on the Tuesday, the following day, at FedEx. Never been that quick. And they didn't let me down once. There was one shift that got cancelled. But that wasn't KPI's fault. They did offer me something else, but I just thought, you know what, sod it. I'm new to the area, I'll take the extra day off, have a shifty round. That was more me than anything, because they did offer me something else. But yeah, they didn't let me down once. And I do want to go in and have an interview with one of them. When that will be, I've got to organise this. I was meant to do it on this bloody holiday. But yeah, Right, here we go. So, now, Class 1 driver training, KPI, I'm going to read this verbatim. So if there's any weird words or misspellings, you're going to get it, okay? I'll see if I can correct it. KPI understand that there is a need for Class 1 drivers across the UK. Along with one of our prestigious clients, we have committed to training new drivers without passing the cost on to the driver. We are working with a reputable driver training provider and have developed a scheme where drivers can train and upgrade their licence to a C+E. Once trained, drivers are guaranteed work through KPI with our client that is supporting this initiative. All we ask in return for this chance to upgrade your licence is a commitment to work for KPI at our client for a minimum period of time. I believe that is 18 months. I think they actually did cover it in another email, but I'm not going through all of my email. As far as I'm aware, it's 18 months. This is out of the Stoke site, the office. What's included? LGV hazard perception, obviously, the LGV multiple choice, driver CPC, category C and category C plus E. So you get the whole skiboodles. You've got to be 21 years or older, okie have held a clean driving licence for at least 1 year. Okay? You must pass medical. I think that goes without saying, because you've got to have a medical to get the provisional. A willingness to learn and pass tests both in the classroom and practical. So, yeah, the training is free, but we ask for a returnable deposit of £100 to book each 5-day practical training, of which there are 2, one for Class C and one for C plus E. The deposit is returned to you after completion of day 5 for each category. There you go, I'm fucking my words up. Yeah, on the successful completion of your Cat C, our client will provide 5 days per week driving work for each candidate until successful completion of Cat C plus E. So when you get your Class 2, you're put straight to work. You're earning your money. Okay, that's bloody brilliant. And of course, because you're going through the client who's, you know, backing up the training and everything, you are going to get, most likely, I'm going to guess, given what I've seen from other companies that do this, you're going to get some time with Class 1, probably in the yard with the trainer or something. But then again, that's just me guessing at the moment. That's not written down in the email. It's just what I've seen from other companies that have done this before. So yeah, there you go. KPI. And I have to, again, I have to say it, because I can't speak highly enough about KPI. I'm not getting any money for this. I'm not being paid for this. This is not a paid promotion. This is me telling you the reality. I was agency for 12 years, for various agencies. KPI are the one that never let me down. If I got booked in somewhere for a week and it got cancelled for volume reasons or whatever, I was booked in somewhere else. And I was told, look, this one's fallen through, but I was doing a week for FedEx. I was booked in for the entire week on a Thursday. Was it a Thursday? I think it was a Thursday or a Friday, one or two. The shift got dropped. I was put somewhere else for that one day and then walloped straight back in, and they matched my times, my start times, so it worked. I've never had that, ever. So I highly recommend them. Okay? Now, I've done the shout out to Ashley. Hello. I've done the shout out for KPI. If you're watching this, KPI, I will organise coming in to chat to you. I've just been so stupidly bloody busy. And my memory for organising stuff is really crap. But there you go. I've done everything that I wanted to get done in this one upload. I know it's dragged on a bit. I know we're using the new camera. I'm not used to it. I don't know how it's recording. But yeah, there we go. So yes, KPI. I actually think it's pretty good. It's one of those things where this whole driver shortage thing, it's been on the cards for a long time. The average age of drivers in this country has always been above 50 years old for a very long time. And we've had a trickle flow of drivers getting into the industry. Agencies are brilliant if you you want to get your experience, but you don't want to commit to one kind of company because you're unsure which segment of the industry you want to go into, whether it's flatbed, curtainside, fridge box, whatever. Yeah? Agencies are brilliant for that, and you can set your own times here and there. But it's so funny. I was reading, I read various articles in various newspapers, but reading one in The Guardian, and The Guardian have been bouncing up and down, along with The Independent and things like that, about the driver shortage, Brexit, blah, blah, blah. And they were talking about the driver shortage. And the driver they used, I'm not going to try and pronounce a person's name, but the driver they used as he's going through the apprenticeship scheme, getting into, driving, was from Poland. Hold on a minute, if Brexit is making all these drivers bugger off, from being agency, from being inside all of this, I work, obviously full-time now, but there's a number of agency drivers who work on the site as me, with a lot of European national drivers, whether they're Polish, Romanian, Czechoslovakian, Lithuanian, wherever they're from. I work with a lot of them. They've all, because they've got their licenses, they've been here for a few years, they've got their settled status, some of them got citizenship stuff, or, whatever. They've got an EU passport, so they've got freedom of movement in the EU, and they can come back here and carry on working. Yeah? As I've spoken to several of them, they didn't give a rat's arse about Brexit. Yeah? What they did give a rat's ass about, and if you work out where all of a sudden the driver shortfall hit us, wasn't in January, was it? No, it was after April. What happened in April? IR35 changed. And a lot of agency staff got buggered off. And they thought, well, if I go PAYE at the lower rates that were at the time between limited company and the umbrella or PAYE, then I'm not going to have any money left over for the quiet time. For 2 or 3 months of the year when you are working 1-2 days a week. Or in my case, I used to take about a month off. And so all that extra little money the LTDs made, you put to one side so that you could live during the lack of work. Well, when you're on 15, 16 quid an hour LTD paying whatever tax your accountant sorted out for you, and then you're going down to £11.50 PAYE paying full rate tax, or an umbrella company charging you a ball washing amount of money each week, but you got 13 quid an hour, you're not going to have much, if anything, left over come the quiet time. So a lot of drivers either, because again, agencies were people coming up for retirement, ex-owner operators who just couldn't be asked anymore, coming up for retirement, new guys just trying to get a bit of experience, you know, and just people who just didn't care, you know. It just suited their lifestyle at the time. And so all of a sudden this comes in, they're losing this money, and they're just, well, they're retiring, they're retraining because they're young enough and maybe driving wasn't for them, yeah. Some of us went full time. Again, I bought a house and 5 on 3 off, I'm not arguing, I'm semi-retired. And yes, there was a group of drivers that did go back to the EU and find jobs over back at home. But again, a number of those drivers were thinking about going back anyway for family reasons, for being closer to loved ones. But it all seems to happen not after January, but after April. That's where we suddenly saw the driver kind of thing go, vroom, didn't we? But what do I know? I was just agency for 12 years. I know nothing about the mentality of agency workers or the impact IR35 actually had, because a lot of large companies, no, bye-bye. We're not even entertaining the idea that you could be a casual worker. We're not taking it. We don't want to do all that paperwork that has to, you know, go with, are you a casual worker or are you a hidden worker? Because remember, yes, I could work for so-and-so, but I could work for ABC or ZYX or, you know, whatever. I could work here, there and everywhere. Yeah? So, it's like my argument when the flat rate VAT thing came in years ago. It's you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Yeah? And the funniest thing is, a lot of people I saw raging about, oh, fucking IR35 is finally going to give it to get it up away. They're now the same people online going, what do you mean, Grant Shaps, I'm going to have to work longer hours? What do you mean, boss, I'm going to have to do that extra run? Why aren't I just doing 8-hour days anymore? What did you think agency staff did, numbnuts? What did you think we covered? Your holiday, your sick time, the extra runs you didn't want to do because of your cushy little number? What do you think we did? You know, I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. I've been agency my entire driving career, up until obviously recently when I went full time. I go in and the staff behind the transport desk are amazed that I don't give a crap about doing the long runs. Most of their drivers, what do you mean I'm doing the long run? Oh no, I'll do more than 10 hours. I don't give a crap. You send me up into Scotland, brilliant. I'll do a couple of drops in Scotland, night out, come back. Everyone's a winner. You should hear the bitching and moaning since agency staff have buggered off. It's brilliant. And the company, along with a lot of other companies, are starting to offer serious wages, the wages that truck drivers should be being paid. And if you're not a truck driver and you're watching this thinking, oh, well, you know, truck drivers shouldn't get like 50 grand a year, we do 60, 70 hours a week. Work it out hourly. You do 38. For you. Full time. And you need a 4-day week because, it's stressful. It's like, it's bollocks, isn't it? It's like, you think about the hours that we do. Again, people who live in the cab. They come home on a Friday night, Saturday morning, have the rest of Saturday, bit of Sunday, then go back in Sunday night to start, the guy opposite me, the retired truck driver. He used to work for a company that really treated their drivers like shit. I'm not going to name them for potential legal reasons, but we talk about it a lot. And he was paid really, really crap, right? He would come home on a Saturday, have the basic number of hours he had to have, legal requirement, and be straight back in that Sunday night. He'd come back on the Friday night if he needed extra hours, or the Saturday if he could reduce. And he was away 5 nights a week, most weeks, every bloody week. And he got like 28 grand a year for it. Add the hours up. That puts him on pennies an hour, realistically, the amount of hours he's away from home. It's insane, and people say, well, you're going to pass it on to the poor consumer. That's how it works, fuckface. Your wage is a cut of a company's profits, right? That's what your wage is. If you get paid more, yes, the shelf price goes up a little bit. A tiny amount. Yeah? I've gone from 34 to 45, effectively. Arguably, okay? Again, as long as I do nights out, a couple of nights out a week. Now, I can do extra days, get a few £100 extra. Anyway, so I'm doing that. But the amount of stock I am shifting, the countless numbers of items I am shifting, means that realistically, to cover my wage and everybody else's wage increase, a pint of milk's going to go up 2p, maybe. That's effectively how, if you want to decrease the gap between the rich and the poor, you've got to get the people who own the businesses, the rich guys, to pay you more money. Yeah? Because they're just profiting off of the company and paying you the minimum they need to pay you to get... Wasn't I saying that? For years, have I not been saying on this channel, companies will only pay you what they need to get you in? Have I not been saying that? Yeah? Now they need you, look at the wages. Everybody seems shocked, everybody seems surprised. Me, I'm sitting there like, obviously. That's how it works. A company needs you. Whether you're a driver or an office worker or a shelf stacker and whatever the hell you're, a cleaner, it doesn't matter. They need you. If you aren't there, they need somebody to cover you. And if that person isn't going to cover you for the wage you were working on, they're going to pay them more. Yes, prices will go up a small amount. I was looking, inflation is looking at running about, 3 or 4%. Average wage increases in the last few months have been 17%. You're still miles better off. It's happening in front of you. It's not like I've been saying it since 2016 on YouTube, is it? I just think it's fantastic. And just all of the bastards who were like, yeah, give it to the agency staff, and now they're bitching and crying and moaning, oh, this is fucking shit. What did you think we used to do? We used to cover that. If you were full-time, it's happened in various places I've worked at. I've come back after doing my run, and one of the full-time guys who started roughly the same time as me has come back, got to the window, put the paperwork in. Here you are, Dave. You want to go do that? No, I'm going home, mate. All right, there you go, Bill. Okay, I'm going back out, am I? Full-time guy goes home. Yeah. Now, I'm not there. Full-time guy, Dave, there you go. What do you fucking mean? It's brilliant. I'm loving every second of it. I'm just loving it. just watching the lower IQ denominators suddenly realise, oh shit. It's brilliant. It's fantastic. It's just... I think you're talking about shelf prices going up, and your main issue, most people's main issues are in Tesco, Sainsbury's, where you food shop and stuff. But think about the millions of transactions that company does nationally per month. Not just per year, but per month. Whether it's whether you're going in for a loaf of bread or whether you're going in for a family shop. And think about the billions of products that they sell per year. Think about it. Endless trove of products. Yeah? And they've got what? Well, Tesco has got what, 400 and something thousand, about 420,000 employees total, national. Spread their increase, say 17% increase, across the billions of products that they sell. You're talking a penny, less than a penny, and Tesco's profits are going up. Oh well, it's going to cost more. Oh, then your boss should pay you more. Huh? He needs you. Train drivers have proved it repeatedly. Truck drivers are proving it currently. I think cleaning staff, their wages are going up. It's being proved in front of you. They need you. And the prices... I shop in Tesco, I shop in local shops. Yeah? Prices aren't changing that dramatically. Considering I'm 11 grand a year better off. Oh, and that's the other thing that you lot forget, isn't it? I'm paying more in tax. And I don't mean because I've gone from LTD to PAYE. I just mean us in general, right? I've got 11 grand a year more at, say, 20% tax. So that's increasing HMRC's tax receipts, meaning the government have more money to spend on the stuff that you need. The more you're paid, the more tax you pay. The more tax you pay, the more HMRC has. The more HMRC has, the more that they can provide. Again, depending on what government's in, admittedly, but you see where it's going. Yeah? And the rate of tax doesn't have to change. You just need to earn more money. Because 10% of 10 grand is less than 10% of 20 grand. And so on, and so on, and so on. Oh, well, you've got to tax the rich. How are you going... The amount of shit I see online at the moment. Oh, well, Elon Musk, if he used all of his wealth, he could cure world hunger. He doesn't have 160 whatever billion it is in his bank account in cash. That's what he's worth. The shares he owns, the land he owns, the buildings he owns. How the fuck are you going to tax a building? You can't tax his shares. It's not cash. You've got to get that money into your pocket so that the income tax thing actually fucking works. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's being proved and everyone's still doubting it. Well, as they've said many times before, it's easier to con someone than to convince them they've been conned. You know what I mean? But yeah, anyway, I think that's covered all my bases, hasn't it? It's given the shout out to Ashley, hello. The little promotion of KPI, obviously a little unboxing, a micro unboxing thing, a little promotion of some booze, and it's even given you a rant. I've gone the whole spectrum, save for I'm just not driving a truck. Ta-da! But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one. I honestly don't know when I'm going to get time to do another one. I might see if I can organise a kind of weekly thing, but Bert started a new job. for the same company I work for, but in a different location. And she's doing 4 on, 4 off for a lot more money than she was being paid doing 5 and 6 and multiple days back. Oh, it's just a load of bollocks where she used to work. Anyway, but our days, 5 on, 3 off, works out the same kind of routine as 4 on, 4 off, and we overlap. So all my 3 days off are her 4 days. You know, she gets the same 3 days I get, plus an extra day. So I don't know how I'm going to do this, because this is Bert's office. So I'm going to have to see if I can work something out. Now, my plan this year, so as you're aware, was to get the workshop done. And then I'd use that as my office. You know, perfect. Bottom of the garden, out the bloody way, everyone's a winner. But of course, there's a lot of other things that you've got to take care of in your house, whether it's the electrics, the plumbing, the boilers, obviously, the carpeting, the paintwork, everything, you know, the furniture, just an endless cavalcade of crap, right? And of course, I've got to take care of the cars to keep them on the road, because I don't have a new car at the moment, which is pissing me off. So it's kind of, where am I going to do this now? I'm completely rejigging the main room at the moment. I keep saying my room. I don't know why. It's the main room. And I might see if I can sort something up in there. Ooh, I've put a dartboard up. There's a dartboard. I've got a dartboard. And if I get, right, you know, there's a chimney stack in the main room. And if I'm against the chimney stack, but of course there's space for your throwing arm, that is literally the exact distance required. So I've got a perfect dartboard set up. It's brilliant. I'm shit at darts, by the way. But I've always threatened to do it. So yeah. But yeah, I'm going to see what I can do. I don't know. I don't know how quickly I'm going to be able to do this. But once I can, I'll probably do some kind of bollocky vlog. I might go for a drive at some point. You know, stuff I used to do. See what I can do that way. Because obviously, like I said, at the moment, Wearing Bearings has got to go on hiatus. I do not have the budget to go to car shows, to, you know, I was going to rip the engine out of the Terrican and rebuild it, but I don't have the budget to do that. Plus, I don't have the workshop. So it's all kind of, I've got a house, yay, but everything else seems to have gone flatline. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share about, do whatever it is you usually do. I hope you've enjoyed the whole spectrum of bollocks in this last upload. And like I said, if you are looking for work, if you've got a licence outside the Stoke area, KPI, if you're looking for agency stuff, if you're looking to train and you're within commutable distance of Stoke, and the Stoke office does cover areas in Crewe and Stafford, and around, so you've got a variation of distance you can go to. Again, this is why I want to go and interview them, so that we can discuss everything more openly. But if you're looking for something like that, I don't know who the training company is. I've got an idea, but I don't exactly know who they are, what company you're going to be tied to. So if you're in Stafford, it might be a bit of a commute. But if you want a HGV licence and you don't want it to cost you a stupid amount of money, and remember, once you've got your Class 2, you are working. So you're getting money. It's a win-win. But anyway, like, subscribe, share about, do whatever it is you usually do. I'll see you in the next one, whenever that will be. Take care, guys.